All right, this is the engine bay inspection of the 2008 Subaru Outback. Right away, the seller did disclose to me a couple things. One, this is a Subaru. This engine's out of a Subaru Forester. It's an identical engine. It has less miles, but the chassis itself has 270K on it. The engine, they said, was installed with 140, 150K. They said no signs of leakage, drips, smells. The engine's idling as it should. Sounds like it should. The customer keeps it on a trickle charger because they don't drive it very much. I was able to document a very small amount of coolant crystallization along the coolant passages where the head gasket seam meets the engine. That's very common for these vehicles. Subaru used a single layer head gasket for this generation of vehicle, so they all eventually need to get serviced. The customer has the seller has disclosed to me that they have not had the head gasket done on this vehicle, and that's reflected in the price. Otherwise, the engine bay comes back with a clean bill of health, other than just some of the dust and the age-related stuff. I mean, we got some crystallization up here from maybe road salt, but no damage in here. The core support's not damaged. There's been no sign of collision or anything like that. It's just dirty. So, thank you. Okay, so right away we can document that this vehicle, this is not the original color of this vehicle. This is a Toyota Racing Development brown, kind of a desert brown, TRD brown. Seems to be fairly professionally done, even if it was a thin respray. There's some obvious signs of maybe a little bit of missing paint there. So the paint itself wasn't thick, but it was taped off really well, and it was prepped. The prep work was done very well. I don't see a lot of overspray on the vehicle, and the hood itself was even, looks like it was even kind of brought down a little bit on the inside too. So at least that's good to see that someone cared about the paint to a point. This is pretty common. The age of these, the clear coat on these vehicles was not great to begin with. So it's not uncommon to have people respray these things. In any case, it's not a bad job, and it does reflect its age. Checking for panel gaps, loose bumper covers, didn't see any of those. You pull on the paneling and the bumper covers, all that's nice and tight. We're gonna work our way back around the driver's side, looking for squareness for collision damage. That's B pillar is good, C pillar is good. Following around for bumper cover, I'm gonna pull on that as well. There's no play, anything there. Vehicle does have a trailer hitch installed. Pulling there, checking for any sort of deviations right here along the seams for a misaligned rear hatch. That's square. Following around here, checking bumper cover. Checking for a little dent right here, maybe shopping cart type stuff. Coming around square, square, and square. Customer also seller did disclose that these are the winter wheels for this vehicle. It does come with another set of summer wheels and steelies. So these are winters, so that they do balance out. The car had no problems on the test drive, drove straight and true, so that's all cosmetic. Moving around to the front, checking the hood, panel gap there, slight deviation to the left. That's not necessarily an indication of any sort of collision. That might very well have been the hood was removed at one point in time and reinstalled. More likely than not, that's typically what that is. It's usually when you see it's narrower here and wider there, or vice versa, not necessarily just shifted left or right. Usually when it's shifted, it just means that the hood was removed and replaced for whatever reason. Pulling on the front cover. Other than the little paint defects and the rust on the wheels, the exterior gets a pass. Thank you. Okay, this is the underbody inspection of the 2008 Subaru Outback. We're just checking for missing panels, damage, any rust, any excessive rust, leaks, missing arrow, high centering. I apologize, it's very sunny out here, but I'm able to see pretty easily if there's anything down here. Checking for torn bushings, improperly lifted vehicle, crushed componentry, rust on exhaust, leaks on the transmission pan. The transmission pan's nice and dry. Moving around to the front of the vehicle. It does have a replaced catalytic converter. Looks like possibly a Dorman part number. Let's see, gates, lower radiator hose replaced. No leaks on the radiator. There is no belly pan on this vehicle. It's very common to see them not on these vehicles just because they're so large and they end up hiding leaks, so a lot of people delete them. Looking at subframe, some oil pan, that comes back clear. And moving to front left, checking valve covers, those are dry. It's nice to see ground straps. Usually those are missing on vehicles. The ground strap from the cylinder head to the chassis is there, so that's good to see someone cared about the install. Checking front left chassis rail, control arm, bracket, that looks good. Walking down the vehicle, looking at exhaust, missing componentry, damage, not seeing anything. Moving to the back of vehicle. Let's see, control arm, trailing arm bushings look good. Moving to extreme back of vehicle, there's the draw tight hitch right there, looks professionally installed. Not hanging, it's properly leveled and everything, so no holes or excessive rust on the exhaust back here, and the differential is nice and dry. Underbody gets a clean bill of health. The vehicle is in good mechanical shape underneath. Thank you. This is the interior inspection of the 2008 Subaru Outback. The interior is complete with the exception of the mats. The seller did tell me that the old mats had been replaced, thrown away long ago, and these all-weather mats have been put in here. Underneath, the carpet is fine. There's no tears or any sort of issues with that. Just these kind of mostly stains you might see. You know, really typically what this really is dust gets in the vehicle, and then maybe water is spilled on the vehicle, like from a thermos or something, and then it leaves this water stain where it cleans the seat, and the water's actually running around that. So 9 times out of 10, it's just dust, and that'll come right out. So not too much of a concern there, especially reflecting the vehicle's age and mileage, condition, and price. Complete interior seating, paneling, everything is here. Moving to passenger side, same deal here. The cup holder does not close. Another common failure point for this generation of vehicle. Other than just the seat stains, the interior is complete. I'm going to give it a pass. I would just get it detailed and see if the seller might do that, or yeah, interior gets a pass. This is the trunk inspection of the 2008 Subaru Outback. Right away you see the sellers kept on their fluids. They have jumper cables back here. It's good to see that, you know, older Subarus, just good to see that someone's paying attention to them and not neglecting their fluids or anything. Checking the underneath the mat here, we've got a missing handle for the lift up here. I'll try to get this up one-handed. Might have to pull it up a little bit. Okay, so we've got trailer wiring harness. Some extra paneling right here. We'll pull up this further, Matt. Spare tire, looks like emergency roadside kit is completely present. No signs of water intrusion or anything, so the kit is all here. That's good to see. The trailer harness is professionally installed. It's conduited, so it looks nice and good. So the trunk gets a pass. No water intrusion, no rodent damage. Thank you. So this is the code scan of the 2008 Subaru Outback. Came back clean. No engine transmission codes. There will be ABS codes. There was one code, code 26, for passenger airbag indicator fault. Now what this typically is, it's very, very common. What this is, it doesn't have anything to do with the airbag deploying. What it has to do with the indicator, they route in the overhead module where it's supposed to light up, say airbag on off. There is a solder joint in there that is a cold solder joint from factory. It was a quality control issue from Subaru factory in Indiana, and that solder joint fails, and and that light will not indicate. So there's then the code set that that's supposed to let the driver know that the airbag's on or off. So to my knowledge, this has no impact on the deployment of the system itself, just the indication of whether or not the airbag is on or off. It just doesn't alert the passenger. So it's an indicator fault. It's not a system fault in terms of that deployment, in terms of SRS failure. Just specifically that you don't have indication of the airbag on or off, say if you have a child seat in the front or something like that. So this can be rectified at the dealer, or the part can be swapped out, the overhead module can be rebuilt. But this, I consider this a very minor issue. Especially impressive that this vehicle has 270,000 miles on the chassis, and the engine is documented through the seller as having 150,000 miles on it, and it's clean. So that is the only code that's stored here. So I'm going to give the code scan and the computers a pass. Thank you. Okay, this is the conclusions video for the 2008 Subaru Outback. let's go over the documented things. So I did notice some the coolant crystals on the head gasket seam on the passenger side. Did not see any errant smells or leaks or drips or stains otherwise. That's really typical of these engines from this generation, this age, to see that kind of that kind of crystallization from the single layer head gasket. So down the line, it would need to be addressed. The passenger side air vents do not warm. Again, another very common thing is that the heater cores do get clogged on these vehicles, so it's entirely possible that that's what's going on. It does not have dual climate control, so it's not a blend or actuator. It's more than likely a clogged heater core. That was disclosed by the seller, that the car on the right side does not heat up, and that's also what they think it is. So we're thinking that the three things to document here are, well, let's say four, are the respray paint, the crystallizations on the head gasket, the code 26 airbag fault, which I'd consider very minor, and the airbag, the heater, the vents on the passenger side would be the four things we would document. Otherwise, the vehicle is in good mechanical health. It shifts smooth, it drives smooth, the suspension has been replaced, it's got all four new struts, the tires and brakes are in good health, the vehicle has plenty of get up and giddy up and go, the fluids look good, and the interior of the vehicle actually smells nice and clean. It doesn't smell dirty or dank or anything like there's been leaks or anything like that. So this vehicle appears to be right in line for the mileage, for the age, for a vehicle that has had a replaced engine and so on and so forth, but it shifts fine. So other than those four things, that's all we found. So thank you.